Okay, I'm gonna call tonight's meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, August 19th, 2025, at 6 o'clock, and we are starting our regular town council meeting. So the first order of business is the pledge of allegiance. So we all stand. I will lead us in the pledge of allegiance, whatever. Does anyone have any conflicts of interest? And I'll start with April. Anything, a conflict of interest, anything on the agenda? No. Paul? No. Me? No. Misty? No. Okay, Valerie? No. Okay. All right, moving on, the consent agenda. I finally reviewed all of the minutes and gave Crystal my changes and she has put them in. Can't believe it, for March and April. So, if we, approve the minutes, I'll take a motion from one of you to approve the minutes from March and April.
I move we approve the minutes from March 12th, 2025, March 18th, 2025, April 9th, 2025, and April 15th, 2025.
Second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Yes. Okay. Any questions on the checks and invoices? I assume, I couldn't get into SharePoint, but I assume.
No.
They're not there.
Joy was not in there.
We got the July report from them. Okay, next month then. Okay. Next, we're moving on to the report. So planning commission chair, Ms. Pope.
I sent everybody on the council, we had no public hearing last week, and so I sent the vote on to you. So my report is very simple.
Okay.
Um,
I cannot get into my email or SharePoint. I can't do anything.
all right, so we had 3 votes, and the Palmer zone change from rural residential to commercial on B-2-1-21-226 was a 2-to-1 vote.
A what?
2 in favor, 1 against.
There were only 3 people at the planning commission meeting?
There was, 1 was not present, I don't know why, and the other had technical issues until the end of the meeting, so yes.
Oh, I know, okay.
And then the second one was, an ordinance clarifying that uses not listed as permitted or conditional are prohibited.
Okay.
And that was a 2 yes, 1 no vote as well. And then, by the time we got to our third ordinance, our 4th commissioner was able to establish a connection. And that was, the one on parking lots, prohibiting commercial, including definitions and prohibiting commercial and public parking lots in all zones. And inserting section 44.111, prohibited uses and including municipal parking lots as a conditional use. We passed that one with a recommendation to, to approve.
Oh, to
With-
approve
with
the
that-
ordinance
with-
design. Okay.
Yeah,
To approve
that
the
was a
ordinance.
4.
Okay.
And so that was a 4-0 vote. We did have a suggested amendment,
Mhm.
that, at our work meeting, 2 commissioners out of the 5 expressed a concern about the town being able to charge, so we just put the municipal parking lots in the same category as the other ones.
Okay, so tell me one more time,
And
just so I'm sure I understand.
And I
but
sent-
Have your report. Tell me one more time, what was the ordinance that was prohibiting parking lot?
that That was the ordinance.
Yes, I know, to repeat yourself, you
Oh,
said.
so it passed 4 ayes,
Zero.
no zeros. We had a suggested amendment, and as an attachment in that email, and I can print it out, and drop it off at the office if you would like. I put in yellow the suggested change.
So is it prohibiting all parking lots, whether commercial or municipal?
Correct.
Okay, that's what I mean.
That's with the change. The original one did not do that. So I just wanted that clear as it came to you.
Okay. So you guys voted on
Three ordinances.
Three ordinances. Okay, 2-1, 2-1, and then 4-0, because somebody was finally able to connect it. Okay. Okay. That was productive. That was productive.
You do. Thank you.
Okay, the last two meetings, Jean was excused from being here. We didn't have any kind of report, for the zoning administrator, but, today, Jean has been, out on the east side of Zion National Park doing something, I don't know what, so he's not here tonight. So Jay, your mosquito abatement report.
Good evening. We get calls out, people call and say, hey, I'm bitten by mosquitoes, so we go out to their home and check their yard and, can't find any place where the mosquitoes are coming from, so what we do, we have to check at least 12 houses around, trying to find out where the mosquitoes are coming from, but we have to go to people's backyard, and people don't like strangers coming to their backyard, so that's why we have this little thing. It should be in your stuff there. Public health advisory.
It's the last page.
So anyway, they hand these out to people and they read it. Oh yeah, you can come and you're looking for mosquitoes. Let them know what they're looking for. They had somebody went to one house and asked the guy that said he wanted to go in his backyard to see if he had any standing water. He said, oh, I don't have any standing water. It hasn't rained for a long time. So they said, well, we'd like to go in and check. And these things on the bottom, all 4 of those on the bottom there came from his house. Where
Yeah.
he had a fountain that he had covered with the sprinklers at it, and he had covered, but the water had pulled up in the bottom of that, and there was larvae all over in the bottom of that, and then these other things. Anyway, we had a program called Kick the Bucket. And so we'd go around and take and tip all the buckets over, kick them over that have water in. So it doesn't take very long for water to stand before it gets larvae in it. Even if you haven't had mosquitoes around. One thing,
What's the average time
beg your pardon,
for standing water?
standing water.
Yeah, or what's the average time before you start to be?
In this type of heat, summertime, standing water, how long would standing water in this type of heat take to grow?
You know,
mosquito larvae?
sometimes, I don't know, it varies. Sometimes that if it rains and you have a old tire sitting out there and gets water in it, that's a great place for mosquitoes to.
Yeah, but will it take like 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Yeah.
A month?
Yeah,
How long does it?
it takes a while, yeah,
Okay.
they'll fall for it. But anyway, the one right here on the 4th one over. This lady had her plants out there. And this was a planter and had all these plants in, and come to find out that these, let's read. These Aedes aegypti. They are usually found in containers in residential areas and bite any time of the day. They mainly bite humans, usually around areas with thin skin like ankles and wrists. They can carry diseases that aren't native to Utah, but they have not been known to carry any diseases in Washington County. So,
But they're annoying.
these mosquitoes were coming in this, that they put the plants in, you know, and you go to the nursery to pick up these plants. And they had all of these here and they were just full of larvae. These, anyway, we find out that they were coming from California through these containers. The planters, yeah, all the way from California. So anyway, it's, really interesting. Okay, we'll get to our meeting. We had, there's the, we have actually 15 cities in Washington County that we represent. And lately we've been able to go out to some of these outlying communities. And actually we've been down helping the Shiblets down there, we're south and north of St. George. Anyway, they have their own program and we've been able to go down there and help them get that established and set up. And Sean had just gotten back, we had our meeting Thursday and he just got back Wednesday from a meeting in Salt Lake. A manager's meeting. He drove up there and then back the same day, and he does that about every other month. And actually, he's goes there and he's on the program and teaches at these. He went back to the national down back in Colorado. And he had a half-an-hour presentation in that national meeting to the national mosquitoes. Anyway, he's our budget is over. We hit $1 million, so we now have to have an audit every year. Before we used to we have to have one every other year. Now we have to have an audit every year, and there are no findings whatsoever in our audit. And we're like, we were only 5 points from being perfect in our audit. They give points. Anyway, I was gonna highlight that and I think it, anyway. We now have, we have $1,072,000 in our, capital facilities.
I was gonna ask you what the difference was between these two accounts. So one's capital facilities.
And the other one's just our, regular budget. We keep it in there and then she draws out 50,000 or whatever at a time, to make payroll or whatever. And then when she needs it, she does that again. So that's what the difference is in those two accounts. And, actually, we make a lot of interest. For the month of, last month, we made $3,949 interest on our capital facilities account. And, that's, one of these days, we're gonna have to buy an additional building or, because, everything seems to keep growing and every time houses are built, more revenue comes in. And, we're not using all the revenue, that we get in right now, so we stick it into those accounts, so, they can make interest. We have to rehire on some seasonal employees and we talked about our trapping. This year, there has been a lot more, last year, a lot less mosquitoes and everything than there was last year, but mostly because, we had an early spring last year and quite a bit of moisture, which we haven't had this year. We have a lot of moisture, then we have a lot of, mosquitoes. You know, it's interesting, once in a while I wear my mosquito vapor shirt or my hat to town and get into a conversation. The other day, I was coming by and this guy was talking and he saw that and started talking about mosquitoes. He was, yeah, I'm getting bit. Every time I go outside, I just get bit. And I, wait a minute. I says, if you're getting bit, we need to know about it so we can take care of it. It says, where are you being bit? Oh, I just got here from Oregon. I get bit all over the place every time I step out in Oregon, but I've been here for 2 weeks. I haven't been bit once by mosquitoes. Okay, that's good. So anyway, any questions?
Oh, when is the next meeting? I see this one was just last week. When is the next?
It's, November,
November? Okay.
yeah.
And I saw my answer on this, I hadn't read it when I asked the question, but it's on here. To my question.
Okay, cool.
Okay, thank you, Jim.
That it?
That's it.
Okay.
Thanks, Jake.
Okay, so we are at open forum, and open forum is 2 minutes per speaker to talk about something that is not on the agenda. So, I am assuming, George, since you're here, you had something you wanted to say at, I'll get to you, Tom. George, I assumed that you had something to say since you were here.
Yes. George Rodinos. I'd like to begin by saying that in the last meeting that I was at, there was some discussion about, the properties that the residents of Virgin own, from Alan Lee to everybody else. And I don't know whether or not this meeting would concern anyone regarding the question I have on that. If I'm in the wrong place, wrong time, then, I need to know.
Okay. Are you talking by any chance about the planning commission meeting where there were a lot
Probably
of
the
people
planning, yes,
here? And
yes,
it was about the sensitive lands ordinance?
right.
Okay, yeah, that's still at planning commission. We haven't even seen it
So
yet.
my question has to be answered there.
There.
Okay, very good.
I was gonna say, whatever your question is, we probably don't even know what the answer would be.
Okay. And the second one, I don't know if it's planning or, again, forgive me, but I'm not too familiar. I should not be ignorant of our
Okay,
town of Virgin and how it works, but nonetheless, I received a citation over a streetlight that I have on my property. Am I in the right place for this conversation?
probably yes. So
Okay.
go ahead.
All right. First of all, I'm not here to confront. I believe that there's a way that I can comply and everybody can have a win-win situation. But I do adamantly want to point out, and for the record, this is going on record, right?
Yes, it's recording.
Yes, okay, very good. I believe there has to be a balance between the safety and security of the citizens in any town, city that one goes to in these United States. And that should include the town of Virgin. There should be a balance between dark skies and the safety and security in the evenings in our neighborhoods. And I think that should be open to discussion. Briefly, I really didn't bring any notes, but I can point out 2 things that I think I pointed out earlier. One is that streetlights go all the way back to Benjamin Franklin. He's the one that invented or put forward gas lamps in Philadelphia. And it was purely for the safety of the people, okay? And throughout the world, especially Europe, I think it's one of the more romantic things that you'll see in some of the older cities like France and, like Paris or Athens. There's something to be said about, streetlights, okay, over and above the practical. All right. Now, that said, there is also an ordinance in, Tokerville, our neighbors. And to some extent, it was adopted by the state of Utah. And I'm no attorney, Keith, but, I thought I'd point that out nonetheless. And what I found in there is that there is a very good balance between the security of the town of Tokerville and their residents at night, some kind of safety, and of course, the dark skies. And I believe that they were quite eloquent in that. I hope anyone interested in reading it can look it up. It's very easy. And it made sense to me. What we have here in the town of Virgin, in my opinion, is heavy-handed on the side of dark skies. It is explicit, it is well organized, it goes into detail, et cetera, et cetera. With respect to safety, there's not even one complete sentence in the best way that I can remember when I read it to address the safety of the residents of the town of Virgin at night. Okay, so I sincerely believe it should be revisited. I don't think we have to become two different camps here and litigate this thing and fight it out or anything like that. I think we're reasonable people. You might include me in it, I don't know, it's possible. But I will go through the process of first complying with whatever light situation I have. But then I would like to follow it through and reopen the subject. I am not sure how ordinances work, if they're set in stone and it takes Congress to change it, or
No,
whatever.
anybody can propose an amendment to an ordinance, it's not
Okay.
limited to just us.
Very good. The time will come then that with some help, I will put together something. It'll be a proposal for an amendment, which I hope, it's taken seriously, and I hope it brings a balance between safety and dark skies.
Did it go up? Did the whole thing go up? Okay, behind my head, I can't see. Okay, all right.
Oh, is that why it's?
Yeah,
so
Now the band.
I think it got too high.
You got some, yeah.
Okay,
Okay, anyway, in a nutshell, that's what I wanted to share with you all, and, thank you for the time.
okay, thank you, George. Okay. Tom, were you here to say anything?
I'm here for another reason, but thank you very much for asking. You gave me too much time last time.
I know.
I used 7 minutes instead of 2, so.
Okay,
Oh.
all right, and then were you guys here to say something in an open forum also?
Yeah, so.
Okay, the microphone, can't talk from your seat.
And state your name.
And you have to state your name for the record.
For the record, my name is Renee Patel,
I'm sorry, how do you spell the first name?
P-R-I,
P-R-I?
yeah,
That's it.
N-A-Y.
P-R-I-N-A-Y, okay? Okay,
Thank you. And so, we're developers, our family. Our grandfather bought a piece of land in Virgin 5-6 years ago and passed it down to us. And we're looking to develop in Virgin, and we developed in Hurricane. We're based out of Hurricane. And we've understood that the city is a little difficult when it comes to rezoning, and we fall under the commercial zone for real estate for development over there by the Zion Bison Resort. And so
by the design,
by the Zion Bison Resort right here,
yeah.
across the street right here, yeah,
Across the
so.
street, across the highway?
Yeah, so we're located to the left-hand side. I believe the real estate is owned by the town of Virgin.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
all right.
and so what we're interested in figuring out is if it's possible for our real estate to be reclassified or rezoned into a highway resort zone. Because The real estate in front of us is classified as a highway resort zone. We have roughly 8 acres, and what we're looking to do is we're looking to build a coffee shop as well as a municipal building, as well as potentially maybe a hospitality place for people who visit Virgin to not only stay, but enjoy the scenic view, because what we've realized is that people who come to Zion are often on budget travel, and unfortunately, some of the opportunities to stay here are not falling into people's budget because they relatively run sometimes $200, $150, or sometimes upwards to $300. And so really, what we're really trying to understand is, with the proposed ordinance changes at the beginning of the year, with CUPs for hotels and motels falling under highway resort now rather than a commercial zone. If it's possible for us to come in and help develop and bring a building that could help instead residents of Virgin, as well as bring more people coming in and allow more people to stay rather than have a lot of turnover.
What do you mean by a municipal building?
So we wanna develop essentially kind of a meeting hall, right, where the residents of Virgin can use it, as well as people who are coming in and staying if they wanna host events, and so that they can enjoy the town of Virgin as well as the scenery. That's not so as hectic as Springdale or Oregon.
Is your property under a corporation,
I believe so, yes.
Kitchen?
Yeah.
AIS?
Yeah. And we believe it's a great place, for example, for what we have planned for a coffee shop or a food place, for as long as a hospitality place, as well as a municipal building, because like you can see that the town of Virgin owns the land right next to it, right? So it's, I believe, in the right area across the street where the development is, and so that the development is kind of centric to the city in the middle, it's not spread out, so it keeps the city's artistic view and scenery in mind. And so it keeps it in the middle, a little bit more streamlined.
So a meeting room and a coffee shop are already something that would be allowed.
Yeah.
Commercial. So the only reason
Yeah,
you're asking for a highway resort zone
Yeah.
is because you wanna put a hotel.
yeah, so we wanna put all three in, unfortunately, we need the last, we need the highway.
What type of hotel?
Exactly, like, what do you mean, is it like room size, or like, are you talking about brand, or what do you mean exactly?
Aesthetics. type.
Aesthetic, yeah, so we want to keep we don't wanna come in and make something that makes this place look commercialized, we wanna keep in mind the scenery, and so obviously would be in the city ordinances, and what, we would keep it less than 2 floors, 2 floors or less. And we would bring in a brand that doesn't really, I guess, make the town look cheaper, it makes it look like a place where there is, people want to stay. For example, we would bring in something like a Hilton, like, for example, there's a Marriott, right? So we're not bringing anything that's, I guess you could say, that is not up to a standard, because again, we keep in mind that this town has a great history and it's at a great location, and we wanna honor that as well.
Okay, first, you would have to request a zone change in
Yeah.
the planning commission.
Yeah,
But I know you're trying to find out from us.
Yeah.
What is our thoughts.
Yeah.
Before you waste any time.
exactly, because we don't wanna waste anyone's time. Yeah.
I would say that, well, I have no idea if I should actually tip our hand at this point. I mean,
There, we don't have anything to look at.
we don't have anything to look at, yeah. But
Before public testimony.
I think you said it, pretty much said it all when you said that the new hall and the event building, things.
those are not a problem.
And the coffee
It's purely
shop,
a-
not a problem.
Yeah, so we wanna make it like a 3-way development, so. Yeah, and we feel like that would be an issue because of just the city.
I think what happens when it comes to rezoning a piece of property, besides the fact that it goes to planning commission first. Planning commission holds a public hearing, I know there's a stupid form. Planning commission will hold a public hearing, and that's where they're going to get input from town residents as to what they think about a zone change.
Mhm.
Now, when it comes to the town council, we will take into consideration what the town residents want
Mhm.
also.
Yeah,
And so it's even though we ultimately have the decision,
Yeah,
we still wanna hear what the rest of the town thinks.
Yeah,
before we
absolutely.
Make a decision.
no, I understand.
But I think it's a climb. I will tell you, I think it's would be a difficult time. That's good. I'll just tell you that.
Okay, and then so what does the town want then exactly? What do the residents want? Because again, we wanna bring value to the residents, like
Right, as
that's what we do.
say, what happens is if you come and ask the town residents, what do they want? They want all sorts of retail, I believe, is what they're looking for. We've long wanted a grocery store, we've wanted, restaurants, we've wanted all sorts of things that aren't hotels, that aren't overnight stay.
Exactly,
So there's just about anything you could suggest.
It's perfectly good.
yeah,
The hotel is where you're gonna have your call.
Yes.
The other two things sound fantastic as far as maybe what Mary's just talking about,
Mhm.
what fits our ordinances, either side. But if you're looking at the hotel, just to be perfectly blunt,
yeah,
it's not an opinion, it is what it is.
yeah,
The hotel's gonna cost you Wall Street.
And the reason that was changed is because we're kind of over lodged. We have a lot of lodging.
really,
Well, we've got so much camping, there's.
Airbnb.
And it's not just, it's not, and that is all brought to us from our residents.
Right,
So it's not us laying down an opinion or.
Yeah.
We're saying this is law. It's hotels are where our residents do not want.
that makes sense. I found
We've got
that,
enough of them. It's kind of like if we had 4 gas stations. I mean, I feel like we can build what you want, but I am the minority in a lot of ways. However, your hotel is going to cause the most grief. You'll have the most problems with the reason because of that.
that makes sense, because I find that interesting, because when you step outside of Virgin, right, and you get down to Laverkin, the minute you step out of like, you would say Virgin territory and step into Laverkin, there's 4 hotels, right? And that's why I find it interesting, because people are continuing to develop there, right? And so that's why it's interesting to me, because we think that, for example, if there a 4th hotel is gonna be built here, and for example, in Virgin, we believe that the tax that the city would make would definitely help, exactly, right? When you're thinking about the fiscal year and budgeting and whatnot, so that's one of the reasons why, well, again, we came forward, is because we do see an opportunity, but then again, obviously, it's the people in the town that what they want ultimately.
And we have not finished the general plan that we've been working on in town. But, there were quite a bit of surveys that were done as part of the general plan.
Yeah.
And, one of the issues in the survey is what kind of businesses do people want
Mhm.
to see? And so, I would say one of the things that would be good for you to do is to look at the rough draft of our general plan, and you'll
Mhm.
see what it is that people are wanting to see in town,
Understood,
okay? But at this point, the thing to do is to, request a zone change and go to the planning commission and talk to them. And
understood,
that's your first step.
perfect, well, I appreciate your time,
Okay.
thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Renee. No one else, okay. I will ask one last time before I move on, anyone else for open forum? No, okay, then we're going on to council comments. Anyone on the council have any comment that they would like to share with the public?
yes.
Valerie, okay.
So I have 2, actually. I want to give a shout out to our code enforcement officer, Matt. I had gotten some calls from residents on Pocketville Road. Despite having no truck signage and local traffic only, there's been a lot of truck traffic, including some Sunrock trucks. So I requested that Matt call Sunrock and, ask them to not do that. So I just want to thank Matt for taking care of that, and maybe that will help.
I will say this, that today I had to drive up Coab Terrace Road for something. And when I crossed the highway, coming down on Coab instead of Pocketville, were a lot of trucks that says something. I was like, thank you. So
Yeah, great.
they did get the message to them, that they were coming down Coab Terrace Road instead.
But I received videos of high-speed traffic on, and sailing over those speed bumps, the speed bumps are really inefficient.
Not working.
Right. I've seen video of groups of motorcycles using that road to get up the KT road. And, I hope we can work on this and get that resolved for people. The other thing I wanted to, talk about was I've been hearing stories around town about, Jim and Naomi with River Rock not finishing their project because the town has given them such a hard time. I spoke to Jim Soria and he said he really has no idea, how that rumor could have gotten started. They've been there every day working. They're, finishing up the inside, then they'll start on the outside, and he's hoping to be open sometime late September, October. So I just wanted to dispel that rumor. Yeah.
Wow.
But he assured me that the town had not. He said the only thing he could think of was that before he got his building permit in, the ordinance regarding, lodging and commercial had been passed, and so he was wanting to do short-term rentals in there, and he's no longer allowed to do that, but he's still moving forward with the cafe.
Yeah.
And right now, those units are long-term rentals, so they'll either stay that or he'll do something else.
Misty, anything from you?
I'll just kind of echo something that she said, but it was about our staff. I happened to stop and talk to Eric and our parks guy, what's his
Brian.
Yes, his name, I always listen to. And talk to them about something that one of my meters is out, and they showed up the next day, because my meter slipped over, and they had a hard time with my meter. But my shout out to them is that they are doing a great job. I feel like they're seeing, which we haven't had a lot, and they're seeing, and they're doing a great job on the parks and making things look good. So shout out to them, to our parks and.
Thank you. I'm proud of those two hires, if I must say so.
And they both came right to answer my questions, and they didn't really know exactly who I was, and they still.
That's what I was gonna ask you, they know you're.
No, they didn't, actually, Brian had no idea who I was.
Did you eventually come?
I did, I said, see Barry, he goes, okay, and I said, I'm not gonna throw that I'm on the town council, but that's how you would know me. Eric knew me, but Brian didn't, but it had nothing to do with all of that, it was just really neat to observe them. They didn't know I was stopping, I just was driving my own day.
Nice, that's fine. Okay, Paul.
Yes. The individual that showed up at 5:30, we thought was Heath.
Yes.
Happened to be Chad. He had a conflict because he had to be on the other side of the valley. He called me up at 5:30 and he said, what time's the meeting? I thought it was 5:30. I said, if it's at 5:30, I'm late. So he gave his report. What he wanted to tell us is that we had in our area 12 calls this month.
For what?
I only have the text, so I have nothing able to find out exactly what. It would be a combination of, could be fire, could be EMS.
Okay.
Fire restrictions are still in effect. They've had a busy summer of fire department, and they've had suppression efforts in Pine Valley, Grand Canyon, Bryce Canyon, Monroe, and then of course all around our area. And they have a full-time captain position open. So if anybody knows of anybody that is in fire arena that would like to apply, please contact the Hilton Fire Department.
Okay. April, anything from you?
I don't have anything.
Okay. And I have nothing to, report despite being amazingly busy. Okay, so let's move on. Next item is the, public hearing So I will need a motion to close the public meeting and open the public hearing. Motion to close the public meeting and open the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Okay. Our public hearing, we have two topics. We have two topics for public hearing. Both of them involve the capital improvement plan. The first, we are adopting revisions to the town's capital improvement plan policy. And then the second is, the 5-year capital improvement plan listing out the, improvements that we want to do over the next 5 years. And I believe the first one, which is the revision to the capital improvements program, we had a couple of changes. One, which I highly approve of, is changing the chair of the capital improvements committee from the mayor to the new town manager. I approve of this. I'm very happy.
Can't come soon enough.
Can't come soon enough. And then the second is, a capital improvement, we changed the cost, the cost basis, the, bottom line for $3,000 to $5,000. Is that it? Were there any other changes to the, plan? That was it.
And if I'm not mistaken, I probably forgot to take out that 3 to 5. I think that was done last year.
Where?
The cost basis for what
Oh.
constitutes,
Okay,
capital improvement asset.
okay, all right.
If not, it was one that should have been done. It shows it there, but I don't know, I think we made that last year.
Lead through from last year's.
Yeah,
Oh,
I see, I might have missed that when I was amending everything.
So by adding the town manager, onto the, committee, you're also changing from 6 members to 7 members.
Yeah.
I see that change. Okay, so any comments from the rabble? Tom?
Real quick, a couple observations on the resolution that we have. I think that's the one on the screen there. And basically, I was looking at the hard copy, so it's either page 3 on the hard copy that you have, or page 5 on the screen, I think. It's real simple. First one, Gene, I think you'll like, there was some language on page 3. And it basically, under annual steps and phases, item number 1, line 7. There's a line on there that basically says, the mayor will update, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you may want to say the town manager will update it, or the mayor and the town manager will update it, just a thought.
Where's that at?
Right, that's what it's right.
Page 3, under annual steps, about halfway down the page there, it's item 1, line 7. You have a hard copy.
Yeah,
He's saying to say town minister.
everybody in there, the mayor, town manager, mayor, town council members, town treasurer, town engineer, and the. Well, he's talking the one up the line.
Line 7,
Below that,
Below.
below that.
below that, just one,
The
it starts with the
mayor
word mayor.
will update the previous year. capital
Again, I don't care, it's just a suggestion.
Oh, yes, that should include town manager.
Just, again,
Thank you, Tom.
whatever, for what it's worth. The other one deals with,
Replace town manager, replace mayor, town manager, or say town manager and.
yeah,
I would say town manager.
Okay, thank you, I'm gonna cross out here, okay, next,
the other one, the last one is under dark sky, and I have it, there's a list of,
what page?
on the hard copy, it would be page 4. Page 6 on the screen is page 4, you have a list of items that would be considered, with new
Oh, dark
projects.
sky, yes.
And dark sky is what I'm addressing, and right now it says, does the improve directly contribute to improving dark sky? I think that's a little difficult, and I have a suggestion to that one. It's kind of hard to improve dark sky, but it's consistent also with what Paul's been talking about in terms of compliant lighting. And I would suggest you have something that's reads like, is the proposed improvement dark sky compliant? Period. Okay, just, it's a little difficult the way it is right now. I don't know how somebody could say I'm improving the dark sky, you know, but I think it's a,
This is points to either raise a project up or down on our priority list. You could have every project night sky compliant, so it'd almost be like a giveaway set of points. I don't know, if you think about it, if it just said night sky compliant, then every one of these projects,
And they have to be,
they have.
under ordinance.
okay,
So I don't know, when you say, but Paul, I mean, he makes a great point, how do you improve them?
That was imposed, that was put in prior to us having the dark sky ordinance.
What if we put, instead of improve, we could put complement or another word that means equal to or improve?
Well, I don't even know if they need it.
I was gonna say,
They have to,
cross out.
it's not a thing, they don't need a bonus point for that.
Well,
So we can,
because they have to be compliant now.
so we can cross out the whole,
To take that out
We can take it
as a
out.
possible point.
thing. Because it's already
I
required,
think it's just bonus.
because it's already required.
Yeah, you may have to.
later on, Paul has some suggestions in the same document here about the lighting for the poles all being dark sky compliant too, so it's consistent to, you're already covered that in a lot of other areas, I think.
Okay, so what this is, was those are your
That's
two.
it.
Okay, so before you stand up and say anything about dark sky, I wanna make sure you understand what this is saying is when a proposal for a capital improvement comes to the committee, we look at these factors to determine the priority. That's all we're talking about. Okay,
I don't have a big issue with it, the other.
no, I was talking to Darlene because she's gonna wanna talk about dark sky.
Okay,
Okay,
Thank you, Paul.
there's another thing just on that same one, it says the proposed, and the alternate, put the word proposed in each one of them just to be consistent. You see what I'm talking about there,
Okay,
okay?
yes.
That's it.
Okay.
Would there be any benefits, would there be any benefit if that the existing thing was not dark sky compliant in this transition period? Because then it could be a bonus point.
So you're saying if they come in to change something in their
It might
project,
encourage
that this would encourage them
to
to.
do it
to come
before
to
that due date.
compliance.
These are capital facilities.
Yeah, it's
This is
More-
not-
I mean, I think simpler
It's
is better.
very limited.
Okay.
Application.
Basically gonna be new, most of it.
Yeah, so it would have to be.
Most of it.
Okay, and it's projects that the town. has
Right.
done.
The town's-
This is not, this is not a member of the public coming and doing anything, it's the town.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna comply with the dark sky.
Hopefully.
We hope. Well, Paul has put on there that, already the capital improvements plan, that the town will comply with the dark sky, so that's already in there.
It only seems obvious, but
Yes, James. Yeah.
Although I'm not that.
I just sitting there thinking about this and, you know, after reading last newsletter and stuff, and I'm sitting there. So the town council is telling us what kind of lights we can go out and buy, and, you
Yes.
know, so, and I got thinking, well, you know, maybe
I'm sorry, but yes.
we ought to just let everybody buy the kind of lights they want, and okay, dark sky is from 10 o'clock or whatever is a safe time to start the dark sky, and everybody has all their lights out at that time until sometime in the morning, and you don't have to worry about all of this other stuff. I just a thought that come.
If people would really turn their lights off at 10 o'clock and all the businesses would turn their lights off at 10 o'clock, you're right, we wouldn't have a problem,
it seems
but they
very
don't do that.
simple, Jay. The only issue I see in that was enforcement. And when they're required, when we enforce our compliance with night sky compliant lighting, that's a one-time enforcement, and it should work from then forward to shield upward lighting of the sky. So, it's very simple, the concept, everyone turn off your lights, take off,
Yes.
and then we say the night sky.
Except we
Except
now
for
that.
Except for the
fire
same people
truck
who
next to
don't.
my house,
Exactly.
I found a fire hydrant that could have burnt down their home instead of the structure that's on it. So safety is an issue.
Okay,
It's good.
it's a good,
I love
you've
it.
got a good point, Jay. I agree
That's
with
what I
you. If we
appreciate.
turn their lights out at 10 o'clock, who cares what light fixture they have? I agree, but they don't.
You gotta keep certain lights on, safety, you know, but.
Okay, any other comments on?
take that off there.
I guess. And then they suggested that we have the word proposed before every, in that same chart you're looking at, before the word improvement, that everyone's
Is,
saying.
is the proposed improvement.
Yeah, have the word proposed before improvement. The first 1, 2, 3, 4 have the word proposed, and then the last 4 do not. They see that, they said, does the improvement, not the proposed improvement. So they were just suggesting that we have the word proposed on all of them. Okay. If there's no other comments on this, then we can close the public hearing and go back to the public meeting.
Motion to close, wait, you guys discussed that too. I can talk about both.
I said, we've got these 2 things.
Oh, you were addressing both.
I was addressing both.
Okay.
And the only comments we've had are to the program, but if anybody wants to talk about any changes in our proposed improvements themselves, feel free to come up and say something. Anybody? Okay. Now, Paul, I will take, close the public hearing. For whoever, Misty, how about giving this motion again?
Where you start?
He's okay.
No, I wasn't, but,
I'm, oh, go ahead, Paul.
no, go ahead and I'll second
I move, we close the public hearing and we open the regular
it.
meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so now on to the 2 resolutions here that apply to this capital, the change to the capital improvement program and the change to the capital improvement plan itself. So we've now heard comments, we have considered the comments. Any further discussion or are we ready for a motion?
I have no comments.
I have no comments.
I just wanted to say that, we met with Rod Mills after our meeting, and,
That's on the next time.
oh, that's on the next item.
That'll be on the one that's the plan
Oh,
itself.
okay.
Right now, we're just talking about this one.
I got it.
Okay,
I move for adoption of resolution 2025-G, resolution adopting revisions to the town of Virgin's capital improvement CIP policy. With the following changes on page 3, under annual steps and phases 1. 7th sentence that we substitute town manager for mayor. And then on page 4, with the rating chart, we delete the dark sky, portion of that rating chart. And then we add in the word proposed prior to improvement under partnership block, consistency block, level of service block, and other block. We have the word proposed prior to the word improvement.
I have one other thing. On page 3, the title for section B, it says CIP steps and basis. Is that supposed to be the T,
Which one?
the title, section D?
Oh,
Is that a typo?
right there.
That's a typo.
Okay,
I would also suggest in, annual steps and phases. Item 1, that it says line 7, because I don't believe there's even 7 sentences in that paragraph.
7th line,
yes,
instead of 7 sentence, I don't know what that means.
yeah. I second the motion to approve resolution 2025-G with the changes Paul proposed and the 2 amendments, the amendment from me and the amendment from Valerie. Any other discussion? I need a second. No, you proposed, I seconded, sorry.
Do we need a vote?
Yes, we are voting. All in favor?
Yes.
Okay. All right, next is resolution 2025. This one has 26 on here. Yes.
Did we come out of the public meeting?
Yes,
Yes, we
yeah.
did.
The next,
Capital improvement projects.
the next is resolution 2025 H, which is the adoption of the actual 5-year plan. And April, you were going to say something about the meeting that you guys had with Rhonda's.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
when we met with Rod, he convinced me that chip seal is an adequate treatment for our town roads because of the, light traffic and their secondary roads. I was thinking when I said that I didn't agree with chip seal, I'm a highway engineer.
Right.
And so we never allowed chip seals on distressed roads, but since our roads are pretty low volume, then I feel really comfortable that he was correct about that.
Okay, good. So we're not gonna change the recommendation, for example, number 1, the first one on year 1 where it says the entire,
You're looking at the wrong form.
well, this is what was in my packet.
Yeah, the form attached that's on the dais is the wrong form. As I indicated in an earlier email to everybody, attachment, if you go to SharePoint, attachment to fiscal year 26 version 5-year CIP resolution, the Excel sheet has the revised forms based upon a work meeting and a meeting with Ryan. So what the mayor attached is hers. But without all other divisions. So,
And I will take mine and I will make you put your revisions in here. I may keep using mine because I like. mine.
yeah, yours is a great working, yours is a great working effort. But then the transfer to just the plan for the public to see it, to see it.
It's just the one that has just the 1 year, 2 year, 3 year.
Yes, we will attach to the resolution will be the 5-year plan that you have drafted out.
So,
Yes, that one.
so
Yes.
which one were you looking at? We're gonna comment on?
I was just gonna make a comment on this right here, year 1 of roads. Year 1, that one. No, not under West, I had, well, what it did say was just that all the roads in town were gonna be chip sealed.
Yeah, we moved that to year 2,
Okay. All right.
at the town, at the work session.
Okay.
About like available funding.
Yeah.
And whether we can use impact fees and.
And Rob did say that, because we can always change this in mid-year, and if we have available funds, we could move that up.
Okay.
So the only other comment that I have that I noticed, later, right when the meeting was, we have, let's see, this is on yours, it had to do with the bridge and we had putting the mirror installed just past the bridge.
This is the bridge Rio design.
Yes, so
Yeah.
the mirror one we discussed is putting in on the mirror on the bridge.
I did see that.
Okay, and then year 2, we have bridge and Rio design needs to have northwest pillar exam and mirror, so I think we just need to take the additional
Oh.
the mirror off of that.
Off year 2.
Yes,
So-
we've done in year 1.
So you've taken the bridge Rio design and you've broken it up into 2 different projects.
Right.
Got it. Okay. All
We
right.
thought we'd be able to do.
Yeah, the mirror is
pretty simple.
That's the stuff that you-
And then, just look at the.
Okay.
And I just want to point out that the title of this resolution, so it does say 2026. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Please say 2025.
And I was just looking to make sure that it matched, because there's, it's just a restated problem that I have. I have a hard time, with that we're crack sealing and asphalting, newer parts of town instead of older parts of town, when the older parts of town are not bigger worse there than in newer parts of town. So if you look at year 1, like on the plan, all put out. One of the newer roads, newer areas are being done first, and then the older areas being done in year 2. It's not gonna change, but that is my,
Which road, because I can't access SharePoint to see this. Which road is being
so
done in
it's
your what?
just your Desert Gardens.
Oh, why?
And it's cracked seal and asphalt. And then year two, there's our older part of town, traffic calming measures, but I don't see anything that says that they're going to be paid until year three, 150. And so it's just another comment that's gonna be made that the older part of town should be first.
It's,
If you-
year one is 100 west is being done, and then everything, and yes, and then after that,
So-
everything's in year two. And if we have problems, then we're gonna move it up. So the only thing being chip seal in year one is 100 west.
Okay. I
And the reason.
really just want to advocate for that.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't matter if it was Desert Gardens or Rio Design or even Sierra Bella.
When we
Because those
were,
are the new areas, they shouldn't be done before any of their older parts.
Yeah. when we were talking at the work session and it was brought, we were cognizant of your concern to have that done sooner, but we're also very concerned about whether we have the funds
Correct.
to do it. And, and during, to do 100 west, Rod made a good argument that we can use impact fees for. And as for the others, we need to take a look at where we are in funding before we fund that.
And you guys talked about this in July and that, because I wasn't here.
No.
for that.
Yeah, it was, August work meeting.
Oh, when I think.
So I had a question though, on what you're talking about, because I can't see this. You said crack seal the asphalt in Desert Gardens, I thought we just finished that. That's
We
done.
did do the crack seal in Desert Garden, that's done, and it should show up as completed. And then he had put,
Right.
we had talked
Just that's
about
why I'm asking
the
if they don't.
Desert Garden Loop 1 and try to look into the chip seal. We moved that,
To year one.
to year 2.
Oh, okay.
And it could even slip further, because what we want to do is, he's got this, he gave us this paper.
Yes, right. Uh-huh.
Plan, and so I don't know if you have that, it's.
I don't, I wasn't here.
They rated all of it, he rated all of the streets, and so, what we'll do, like after the first year, is look at our funding, and then we'll just probably go through here and look at the roads that need to be done and do as many as we can, so I would suppose that most of those roads will include a lot of the older. roads.
Yeah, and I'm pointing out all roads, this just happens to be where we're sitting right now, but like, this is not because I live here. I was talking about by the cemetery road, and
Yeah,
about
we have that.
all these old parts of town that the roads are just. Coming up.
Yeah, she knows they're on here, she was just saying.
I was
she
just
feels
thinking, when I
they
was
should be
looking at
done.
Paul's plan, and then I was looking at this
Yeah.
plan, and he didn't. They weren't cohesive, so when that's when I said my first statement, it might not be the same here and there. It's fine, hardly find cohesion. So I'll just ignore Paul's for right now, because it doesn't say what not being rude, I'm really not, it doesn't say what I was looking for. Okay, I'll look at these ones.
The payment management plan was a document that Rod gave us at our meeting, so we'll have to make sure it's on SharePoint. So we have.
That would be wonderful, so I can see it, thank you.
Well, he gave us that pavement quality plan at our meeting in, July.
That's what I thought I saw that.
He-
When
he-
Jay held it up.
Yeah, he gave us that in July.
Don't remember.
Yes,
Oh, I
I
wasn't
did.
here, that's why, I don't have it.
He
It's in
totally
July
gave us that in July. He totally gave us that in July, we looked at it, and that's when you guys
That's
said,
not-
I disagree with this. And, that's when you said you disagreed with it, and I let, Rod know that you had looked at the pavement quality survey before he done, and that you had, issues with it, and then that's why when we do the minutes, when we do the minutes for July, you will see what we talk about.
But I
Both
think
of
I
them
need
are-
it, because I don't see it in the July meetings.
It was a work meeting,
That's what we.
it was not in a regular meeting, it was in a work meeting.
Okay, I'll dig through it later.
And
Since
they-
you're not-
Because we got that pavement quality survey 2 hours before our meeting started. Because I gave it to her.
The first one was Rod,
No, he said,
we will let,
It doesn't matter.
yeah, no, but for Misty's sake, we'll let Rod know that we're really interested, if there's funding, to move some of the old parts of town up sooner for trees.
Sorry, my vacation totally
No,
checked me
no.
out. I'm like,
Well,
July.
you-
That's what it's supposed to do. Yes, I missed that.
You advocated well for your position, and we'll make sure.
I would have said it.
Okay, so let's get a motion on this one and let's move on.
I move for adoption of resolution 2025H, which is a resolution adopting the fiscal year 2026, which is July 2025 to June 2026, 5-year capital improvements plan for fiscal years 2026 through 2030 for the town of Virgin, with the amendment that under year 2 of roads, that the reference to mirror to reflecting oncoming traffic be deleted because we already moved it up to year 1.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Right, next item on the agenda is ordinance 2025-11. This is the live work ordinance. And I'm going to read this because of the change. I'm gonna read the way this is on the agenda so that we, when we get to this one change that we made to the ordinance, it'll make sense. This is an ordinance amending Title 16 of the Virgin Municipal Code to rename limited commercial habitation to live work, and to add definitions accordingly to expand availability of the use and to amend associated standards. Hey, that is not an apostrophe, that's there, that's a plural. That apostrophe needs to go away. Let's see, is that on there? No, on the title itself of the ordinance, it has not had an apostrophe, that's just on the agenda, okay. So we have continued this from last month. We did not vote on it last month. We continued it because we were deciding whether or not it was going to be, if I remember right, whether or not we wanted it to be conditional versus a permitted use, correct?
Yes.
And we decided conditional?
Yes.
Okay. And it's related to the live work is attached to a commercial use. And a commercial use goes to is a conditional use. There's not that many.
But it should be a permitted use if it's granted.
We also discussed doing your permit for that as well.
That's an ordinance, that's an ordinance, but I just, I mean, it's, if their use is conditional and the conditional use is granted, they should just go with that use.
Well,
They shouldn't have to apply twice.
I would agree
You
with
see what
that.
I mean?
Yeah,
It's like,
I would
if we make
agree.
a conditional use, they're having to apply for 2 conditional uses on their property.
I would agree with that. It's just that sometimes people have a business and they want to come back and add commercial live work. They want to add something to the building. That's what I'm talking.
So is there, and I couldn't see that there was any wording that says that they could, just go with the first conditional use permit. So if I grant a conditional use,
Some people may not want to amend their original conditional use permit.
right,
Because, to add the work, because that might expose them to additional conditions being placed upon the original conditional use permit. And so it's not that uncommon, in fact, I believe up here at the,
The art, yes, the Zion River Resort, right?
yes, and the boys,
Boys Home that was,
we have multiple conditional use permits there. So
but at the time of that, it was part of the ordinance, so it was included with
no,
that.
no, I thought the way Zion River Resort was done was, they came later and wanted to add on to they built a second level to have an apartment that, they could live there.
Right,
But they
but
came later.
but at that time, limited, what it was called, the limited
Commercial
habitation was already included in the ordinance. So it didn't matter if it was a permitted use or a conditional use, it followed with it. So what I'm saying is if it's a conditional use, why, and we're making them apply for another conditional use?
Could they do it at the same time?
That's what
That's
she's
why
saying.
I'm saying, why are we doing that? If it's a conditional use, it should
Yeah.
just be included with it. It doesn't make sense to apply for something twice.
But if it's an
But
existing,
what
if
if
it's
they
a
don't
permit,
have forethought when they're seeking their initial conditional use permit, to wanting to have some live work units or areas as pertinent to or within an existing commercial building, but later they do. So they didn't ask for it up front, and you got a conditional use permit. I think we should not say that they have to amend and keep it all in one permit, that they can seek a separate permit. It just needs to be a conditional use permit.
Well, and in that way, I do see what you're talking about with somebody that already has it. That was a good
And they're
example.
worried,
Be the
we're
same.
worried
But what I'm
that.
saying though is if somebody comes in and okay, I'll be the person. I come in and I apply for a bakery in the middle of town.
Sure.
And I decided that my house is my club, so I'm gonna go rent out my house, I'm gonna live there.
Sure.
Right? But when I come in, I don't wanna have to apply for 2 conditional uses to live there. I need to apply for 1. That's where I'm saying it doesn't make any sense to make new places have a conditional use.
Okay, nobody is saying, when you come in and apply for conditional use permit, they can say bakery, live, work, blah, 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 they can do, and we're not gonna say, you have to apply for conditional use for this, conditional use for this, conditional use for this,
No.
conditional use
But
for
when I-
this.
It's not uncommon.
That's the way I read it. I know it's not uncommon, but that's
for
the way I
conditional
read
use
it.
permit to permit
Several things all at once.
Right, but I just, as long as that is made perfectly clear, I understand the need for conditional use for buildings that are already existing. That should be like, almost it makes sense.
So where would you make the change? Where would you just?
That's what I was trying to figure out, that's why I was talking.
I understand, I
I'm
understand
trying
your
to
point,
figure out
just tell
where
us where you want to make
that
that change.
change.
All right, Darlene, what did you want to say?
just that it's always been a separate section.
You do have to apply for it, but it's not an actual conditional use.
It's under
It's just an
conditional, it's
application,
under conditional use chapter.
commercial application. It is, but you just apply for it as a permit. It wasn't as a conditional use, you didn't have to go through the entire conditional use process.
Conditional use chapter.
To make sure everybody's working on the same sheet of document.
Yeah, there's. a couple-
Because on the dais, the mayor's item has, you have the original one you put on, that doesn't have the after. You missed the after reinvestment. That we missed out, all the beginning, you got the before, but not the after.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
The before,
Oh, that, yes,
and you don't
yes.
have all the after. So if you look on,
Oh,
Sure.
yeah,
No,
I fixed this, I fixed this, I don't know why this is like this. I
so the
absolutely-
dais one is wrong.
Yes,
And then the one that you revised on the sheriff's line,
is correct.
no, it did not have taking out of commercial uses, commercial habitation as being a permitted use. So if you look under SharePoint on the revised, ordinance 2511, that has all the changes, the one that you made, and then the change about deleting, commercial habitation out of permitted uses under commercial zone.
So.
Correct. I did make the
Which
changes.
one of these documents?
The one that says revised. is the
Revised
one you're supposed to be looking at.
Revised ordinance 2025-11 with most recent changes.
That's the one, that's the one we're supposed to be looking at.
Yeah. That has all the
I
changes.
was looking at the wrong.
We
So I
all,
want to make sure everybody's on the right, because we have too many multiple documents.
so, the reason limited. The. The reason limited commercial habitation is in the conditional use chapter is because the chapter conditional uses, which is 16, what is that, 1626? Chapter 26, conditional uses. And if you go to chapter 20, not 1626, what is it? Where's conditional uses? 16, 16, 16 to 16.
Oh.
Yeah, 16, about 26.
Yeah, 16.
26, limited commercial habitation. The reason that section is in the conditional use chapter is because limited commercial habitation was a conditional use in the past. It was made a permitted use in the commercial zone during the last administration. And they did not take this out of the out of the conditional use chapter. They made it permitted, but left all the standards in the, conditional use chapter. Now,
That makes sense.
we're going back and making it a conditional use again, like, we're removing it. And the proposed ordinance that came from planning commission did not go into the commercial zone, which is chapter 40, and delete limited commercial habitation from the list of permitted uses. So we amended the ordinance to add that, to delete that. And we are assuming that this does not have to go back to planning commission for another hearing, because we added that. That was an error, it should have been in there. And it's obvious it should have been removed as permitted use, okay? And that's the change,
In my mind, it's procedural, not substantive, and I don't think that it
okay?
would require any hearing.
So if someone would come in for a permit and have a building at the work, they can do that all at one time.
Sure, sure. And I will say this, with this meeting I was at last Thursday, somebody from Laverton's town council was there, and she said, she gave this long presentation, a short presentation about the fact that their planning commission is addressing a live work ordinance in Laverton. And, that, I was sitting there laughing, going, well, ours is already up for vote. So we're ahead of them. That, so, any further discussion on this, or did you find where you would like to have a change made to make it clear? As far as I'm concerned, if somebody comes in with a conditional use permit application, they can apply for multiple conditional uses all at the same time, all in one application. Yeah, I don't see that they would have to have
I think
five
that we've had that done
applications.
before.
I'm sorry?
That has happened before.
Yeah. Okay, so if there's no further discussion, on this one, shall we have a,
Yes, I will make a motion to make it clear, since we got three different documents. I'll make a motion that we adopt what is on SharePoint called revised ordinance 2025-11 with, the most recent changes, an ordinance amending Title 16 of Virgin Municipal Code to rename limited commercial habitation to live, work, to add definitions accordingly and to expand availability of uses and then associate standards.
I'll second it.
And I almost wanted to say why.
I know, I heard that.
are you okay with it, Misty?
I'll just roll.
Okay, all right. I will take a roll call vote on this, so, April, Paul, Jean, yes, Misty, no, and Val.
Yes.
And so is your no vote, Misty, because of what we talked about?
Yes, and I don't tell so I'm gonna keep my comment to myself.
Oh,
It could be very broad, it's not meant to me. So I'm not going to.
okay. I just wanna make sure, to anybody who was watching the video that your no is based on.
I
what
know
we
it's
talked
based on what we discussed in the meeting,
about. Okay,
and I feel like we're putting to the.
Okay, you can do that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later, because it'll start a conversation that we don't need to have.
Okay. Next ordinance is, an ordinance allowing town council to, I'm going to read the title on here, not what's on the agenda. An ordinance amending Title 16, Chapter 4, Section 2I to allow town council to consider planning commission's failure to make a timely recommendation as a negative recommendation pursuant to state code and to retrieve untimely ordinances from planning. And we made a change from what was previously posted. Oh, I know, what we had to find out from you, Heath, is whether or not I think this section needs to be part of, the chapter that addresses the planning commission and the land use code. It's not something where we can't put this in the municipal code, in the administrative section of the code. It has to go in the land use code. So we need to send this
Because
to
the
planning
planning
commission for
commission
public hearing.
only operates in the context of land use.
Yes,
So
So
this is a referral.
so this is a referral to the planning commission, because they haven't addressed this yet. So we're gonna refer this to planning commission for a public hearing.
oh, you are.
Yeah, because I left blank,
Can-
the public hearing is, and what they recommended, because it's not been to them yet. This is our preparation as the new planning.
Darlene, can I make a suggestion?
Yes,
That you guys can, planning commission can consider. I looked at this and I thought that there needs to be, there is failure to make a timely recommendation.
That was my
that's-
issue too.
well,
What
I,
is time?
That was
What
my
is,
issue
what is
too.
a reasonable time?
well, we have in here, because when we did our rules of procedure for town council meetings,
Yeah.
we had a whole section in here on this, and we defined timely
Okay,
in the
we
rules of procedure. So we didn't do it here,
need to,
okay,
because I don't like how general it is. And if it appears that the determination of what is timely appears to be discretionary. And if we're going to forego a statutorily required process for any land use ordinance amendment or creation to first have a planning commission, review and recommendation after a public hearing, if we're gonna forego that because there's a perception that they're just not getting to it, or they're intentionally not getting to it, we need to define that.
Okay.
So that we don't look like we're acting discretionary. Oh, we're gonna pull this one back, we're gonna not pull that one back, we're gonna let that one back.
I guess the question is, because it says in accordance with the council's rules and procedures, whether you can do that by reference, because the time limit are in the rules and procedure, and it's not in, doesn't need to be in the actual ordinance.
that was a question. When I initially drafted this, I had the definition of timely in it.
Yeah.
And then Paul and I talked about it and said, and deleted that language and just said, in accordance with the town council's adopted rules and procedure.
Yeah.
And you're saying that's not good enough.
Okay, so, here's my issue with that. Your reference is to a policy or procedure adopted by resolution by the council.
By ordinance.
It's not by ordinance, it's not law, and we are creating an ordinance, the ability to do this, and we define the ordinance, the timeliness. I don't know that we can refer to a policy of, I don't know if that's best practices. I'm not saying it's bad, it's just not good practice.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. Yeah, the concern we have, that I have with the timely thing was how we defined it 4 months in 2 months. And we need to think, well, that planning board put that language in when we amended today and refer it down.
Hey, I think it'd be great for the planning commission to get a lot more buy-in from them, if they got to say, how much time is it really take for us, even if we're a little bit confused, even if we don't have all the information to collect have public hearing and make a recommendation. They should be able to tell you what they think is reasonable, let them make the recommendation.
Well, what we put
If
in
you want
the,
to shorten it down, you can shorten it
what we put in the town council rules of procedure
down.
was
to the full.
2 and 4. And so that's what I had in here, 2 and 4.
And my concern with that, we'll see what the planning board comes up with, is the way it was worded. I could see the public, the developers taking that and just beating the head of the planning board for not getting it done in 2 months or 4 months when there would be legitimate reasons. So I don't know how we would reword that, and maybe the planning board would come up with a way to reward it, so reword it, so they're not, it's not being
Well,
used as a,
these are ordinances, these aren't land use applications.
not used as a
Correct.
weapon. Yeah.
Correct.
And so really, unless a land use application is gonna require some sort of change to our ordinance, could I see that scenario, Paul, where a developer could be pushed, threatening, say, hey, look, we're gonna go and talk to the mayor, Paul, all the council members, and have them pull this thing back because you guys are squatting. I don't, that would only happen if the land use application included a need for a change to our ordinance also, like a 2-step process. Which is fairly, it's really a matter of, hey, the council, if they are to send a ordinance down to the planning commission, to have them rough it up and work it over, and refine it, and send it back, with a recommendation, it can't be an unlimited time frame.
Well, as I read this too, town council is not required to take it back.
Correct.
It's just.
Yes, may.
Right,
It's just a may.
right.
And it's, yeah, just clearly outlined in our.
And the concern I have is if something's, or I understand when we refer something down, we want another time frame. But if something's organic, that's developed by the planning commission to come up to us, why are we pulling it from them at 4 months?
Well, we don't have to.
So, yeah,
We don't have
the
to.
two,
We don't
the
have
two,
But
but
that's,
anything that's referred specific, now, here's the question that becomes, you guys refer general subjects to them to work on refining things in general to our ordinance.
Right,
And so they're having to organically create what they
and I
think.
think that's different. To me,
But when you guys
this-
come up with a draft of an ordinance, and
This
say,
right
we would
here,
like this to be law, but we recognize it's a land use ordinance, so it has to come to you guys first. You can't take it, sit on it for an unreasonable amount of time. I'm not saying that this is happening, darling. No one's saying this is
I
happening.
was like, don't take it personally, this got
No one
nothing
is
to
saying
do
that
with
this is happening.
nothing to do with it.
It is much harder to grow an organic ordinance than to be referred a drafted ordinance.
Okay.
Or drafted.
Okay, so we should, I cannot find the rules of procedure. I have this every single time I look through them. I cannot find where where it is.
So I was just saying to Valerie, we have constraints in our,
Yes,
and I feel like it's only reasonable.
it's only reasonable, right?
But it needs to be a reasonable amount of time
Yeah.
as well.
Well, yes, but, we talked about this when we did the rules of procedure.
Yeah.
We passed this in that was last December when we did the rules of procedure. And we had a whole discussion about this before we put it in the code. in the
Top down
rules.
ordinance to organic ordinance 4.
Right, and the organic ordinance could be longer, it doesn't have to be.
We don't have to require, we don't have to.
They have to write that from.
But oftentimes, unless a council member, or maybe when we get a town manager, or we use a paid consultant to draft a town attorney or like Reichner to draft an ordinance. If there's something that is important from a policy perspective, council wants to see like a loophole closed or something like that, and you tell the planning commission, go do that in general. They're creating organically, but they have to do it at some point in time.
Okay,
Because
like where you're going.
you're the governing
We
body,
say no.
they're the recommendation.
Can we put in here somewhere that says, and this might solve a little bit of the whole problem, what you were saying is instead, I need to say, we would say, I'm just putting it in a situation. You have to have this finished by September 15th. SharePoint, give them an end date. Would that solve a lot of the problems that we put in here that we
December
have to give them an
2024.
end date?
Yeah, I just put it in,
A
I can't
reasonable
have
end
this
date.
share.
I would email it.
I want to look at it, you can't check emails to
This question, this is still advocate, Misty.
I just put it in
What
our
if they don't, what if they
I
don't
don't know,
comply?
I can find it if I have share.
Well, Misty, but what if they don't
I
comply
can't email it to you.
and they don't have a draft?
Well, we need to put guts in it,
Then do we hold,
but
do we revoke their appointments as planning commissioners and put a hold in planning commission?
no, but can't the mayor
Or do we send
control,
it to?
can't the mayor
my
control
office
their
to draft?
agenda? Can't the mayor control their agenda until it's on there?
The
Is that allowed?
Yeah, but we have ordinances that have been on a planning commission agenda for
Yeah,
months in a row.
right, but I mean, honestly, if we're gonna give them an organic ordinance, we're not gonna say 4 months.
Yeah, that's
Organic
too short a
ordinance,
time.
it's way too short, but if we give them an ordinance like this, and we say, we need to have this finished by September 15th, and I'm only throwing that date
This
out
is something
because
you
it's
might-
written.
No, that's the rules of procedure.
It doesn't matter what month like, if I'm doing this in May and I say it needs to be done by September.
Oh, yes, there is time.
That is putting discretionary deadline in the plan.
It gives a,
I would like,
That's my personal,
When did you get it? You going to?
I would
yeah,
prefer to see
I bought a personal,
a set deadline, that once it's been referred to.
I said these out one day,
It
he
needs
says,
to come back, and if not, have that one time, they can take it back, treat what happened in the planning commission as a negative recommendation, and it's properly before you guys.
Okay, here's what the language is, specifically says it's in our rules of procedure. Timely means, it's exactly the words we have here.
right,
And then have timely means no more than 4 months from the time the land use regulation first appears on any planning commission agenda, whether a work session or a public meeting, unless the land use regulation was first proposed by the town council and then referred to the planning commission for action. Then timely means no more than 2 months unless otherwise stated in the referral.
so we all kind of agreed just barely that 4 months wasn't enough for an ordinance.
Correct. So all that would say is timely means no more than, and we could change that sentence of, we could. But the other part about, unless the land use regulation was first proposed by the town council and then referred to the planning commission for action, then timely means no more than 2 months unless otherwise stated in the
Well,
referral.
if it's
In which case, we can say, you've got 3 months.
If it's
Right.
extremely important to the council, refer to me, I'll draft it, bring it back to you your next meeting, and you guys can
Okay.
refer the draft down.
So but does this,
Okay, okay.
and the question was, right, it doesn't, you were saying that it really doesn't say? What was your question?
I just wanted to know what timely meant in this.
And so timely is referring to this.
Right,
I
understand.
No, I understand that, but it doesn't.
Yeah,
I understand.
Now, but I'm saying, put that like.
Took the language back, yes, right, put it back.
Timely is found by the town.
And we'll say
council
6 months
procedures.
instead of 4 months. If we leave it, if we just take this language, put it back in the ordinance, change 4 to 6, then we're ready to send it on the plan.
Well, that solves all that.
what would be a scenario that if it's on? If it's done at the planning commission, we haven't referred, well, I guess it would be what Keith was saying, we tell them a subject. but we
Yes.
haven't got it.
Like we tell them, we want you guys to address cottage.
We see some.
Well, we have a perfect example, we have a perfect example. A year ago, we told planning commission to consider whether or not to make the duplex a conditional use or permitted use, something like that, in the commercial zone. That was a year ago, and it's been a year later, and we still don't have such an ordinance. That's an example of why, we would say.
Also along with our neighborhood commercial,
What?
our
Yes.
neighborhood commercial.
And so, but it got turned, we did not, but what we didn't do We just said, hey, send this over for
That was a general,
consideration,
that's a general.
a general referral. We did not draft the ordinance and say, here,
Give them.
we did not do that.
We did give them speculation, but we didn't
Yeah.
give the ordinance.
When, as the town gets bigger and you have more staff, you guys are gonna start to see like your town manager and a full-time, planning staff member, they're gonna be putting
All these things.
for discussion, draft ordinances in front of you and telling you why they've done it, because they're seeing it on the front line on the day-to-day operations of the town. And then there is going to be more of these specific top-down referrals from the council line.
I like adding that, because that answers both of the questions, your question and my
Gives
question
more time.
about, should I set a deadline? No, we don't need to, it's already set. And yours was what's timely mean, it's already defined.
So
That's what I
you think
said. If you
six is
put
good?
A clearly
Six,
objective
eight,
deadline
Yeah,
that says,
Right.
if it's past this one time, we can just pull it up.
what,
That's what I was just asking,
Yeah.
do they think 6, 8? Or the, or
So if
The
you
organic.
put six, that kind of gives them a guideline, but then you don't.
We can do that.
Exactly, they need a little more.
we could send them an extent and be like, okay, you know what, we get it, this is a tough one.
Here's the way. If after 6 months, they don't even have a draft and it hasn't been on an agenda,
For discussion.
Oh, that would not happen.
well, I know.
They're gonna totally have a draft and totally have a public hearing and have it on there. I'd be shocked if they didn't, they would never do that. They would have it on.
And the one you're
But
talking
if they're
about,
actively
the one you're
working on
talking
it
about, they
and
are
they're
dragging, but
seeking input from.
you guys have had your meetings, you've had public hearings, they've had discussions, they've
Right.
been there, I've seen it.
Yeah, the one that I'm talking about.
Yes.
But
You're talking about.
Yes, yes,
There's
no motion, it's not.
Yeah.
This is if there's no motion whatsoever, not if some, they're working on it, because they're great, they work on it. It's if there's no forward motion whatsoever.
I have an issue with, I have no issue with what we're talking about. I agree with it. I just concerned about how the wording is. But I have no problem referring it to the planning commission, letting them come back with a recommendation, which will also give me time to try to think about how we word it.
Well, I
My concern is, I don't have a problem with referring something down on a general subject and then pulling it back after 6 or 8 months. What I have a problem with is with an organic one that's created by them, and it's never been referred as a general subject to us. Or and that small distinction there is all I have. I think we can
So we can,
reword it.
how about we continue this one more month and then we
Yeah,
continue.
refer to planning commission, let them work on it.
Then we've got a cohesive, and everybody agrees, and nobody, everybody feels like they had input on it.
Let them send it down and.
Only if we agree that we're going to amend this.
Yes, no,
and that.
Add that, no, add that language back in, amend that, and I will think about if there's a better way to word it.
Should we write that down though? What you just said, because it's different than adding that language.
Yeah, so
We're
that's.
talking about,
6 months.
no, he's talking, there's something that he
Yes,
has.
yes, I know, but
We're talking that wording to that, so.
We'll get another chance to do that when it comes back.
Correct.
Correct.
And the planning commission has a chance to address it.
And yes,
Let's go ahead and put
and
that.
then we end up doing it anyway because. They didn't discuss it, yeah.
All right. Someone's gonna make the motion, not me. On this one.
I'll motion to send ordinance 2025. Is it?
It does,
Yes, -14,
no, it doesn't.
it doesn't have to?
No.
Okay, 2025,
Oh, correct, it does not have an ordinance number yet.
okay, the ordinance and then
X.
chapter. Title 16, chapter, am I looking for the right one?
This one.
I'm sitting about it because I'm lost. Okay, ordinance 2025 to be numbered later, an ordinance allowing the town council to retrieve untimely ordinances from planning and zoning commission. An ordinance amending title 16, chapter 4, section 2I, to allow town council to consider planning commission's failure to make a timely recommendation as a negative recommendation pursuant to state code. My motion is to send it back, send it to planning and zoning and have them add their input and return it back to us.
And that includes language.
And adding the language, where it says defining timely as the rules and procedure definition for town council.
I'll second. All in favor?
Yes.
Okay, all right, I'll make the change to that and then send an email it over to Darlene instead, or she can put it on SharePoint or whatever it is we do with it. Darlene. Okay, no.
Sorry, I was sick last week, and that's why I went more with my name, that's why I missed the work, so I'm sorry, my discussions are happening now. It's just,
Okay, last item on the agenda is the Palmer zone change. And let's see. Darlene said that the vote was 2-1. Yes. For the zone change, okay. I'm gonna do the rest of my,
Was there any specific conditions that the planning commission recommended? On the,
There was a discussion about the conflict with our location of commercial to be located and ordinance.
there weren't any special conditions that you guys recommended the council impose as a condition of approval of the zone change?
We had nothing submitted to us that we could do that with. There were no plans, there was nothing.
Yeah, and at a zone change, there are very few things that you would condition except for possibly willingness to participate in some infrastructure upgrades that would be needed by the intensity of use that it's getting rezoned to. But, yeah, you don't see any plan to zone change stage.
Darlene, will you clarify for me something that I only caught a little bit of what you just said just now? You said it was about the 400 feet. Tell me.
you meant the depth,
You mean the
right?
depth,
The
the
depth.
depth of it?
Yes, we
I just needed that clarified, because I was looking at the location going, hey, because I only heard
Okay,
part.
so what?
How far is that furthest point back?
About 800, 900.
Hey, that this for this point is,
About 800 plus feet.
Which, the the furthest,
the tip.
the very tip where it goes.
I just measured it off.
That,
Thank you, Fred.
that ordinance was passed, the one that Darla signed, because it was 400 feet, that's passed, but the,
That's what I was asking.
Unicode has not put it in yet. That's why if you're,
That's why I was looking at the thing going,
yeah, the ordinance was passed.
thank you. That's why I had to ask. I heard it and did have it perfect. Thank you very much.
Unicode now does all the updates, not us.
And I wasn't here, so did you guys discuss options?
At the work meeting, I wasn't here either, it's just that I.
Work meeting,
Yeah,
we talked about maybe having a development agreement with them. And that would run. Allow the commercial.
But yes, that was what I thought too, was that it would be possible to say zone change approved, subject to a development agreement that they could only,
They can go back.
develop the 400 feet.
Or go back if they can't go over.
And my concern is that an acceptance, because we're imposing that on them and they're not requesting it. So wouldn't a denial come first
Well,
and then they come
Can
back
we
with
offer instead?
the proffer?
So,
we can withdraw their zone change request if we tell them this is going to be the condition. That any motion is going to have approvals that it's only. And I struggle with split zoning parcels. So hard to track location of where the zoning boundaries are, it's not parsing boundaries. So hard. And so I would never recommend that we do anything. In order for there to be an accomplishment of what our new ordinance requires or limits it to only being 400 feet off the highway right of way. You almost have to be like a land partition application and split
Okay,
and rezone them.
Darlene, when did we pass that? About the 400 feet, do you remember when that was,
April or May?
April or
What
May?
was Paul's application?
Was May? Their zone change application, I believe, was after.
Correct.
They had already started the division of land waiver, the separation that they wanted to do. And they had got a map and
Yeah.
sent
You've
it.
been doing it
They
for
had
quite a
started
long time.
that way before we did the 400 feet. And so then what happened is we passed the ordinance limiting the depth of commercial to 400 feet from the highway, but nobody told them.
I remember.
And so they
now.
continued.
Now they
But the question is, isn't that the date that they first started considering the zone change?
Yeah,
No, they applied for a zone change and we told them,
You
you
have,
have to do a land partition because we don't allow split zoning. So they put their zone change application on hold, applied for a land partition, which was granted. It was, the deed was recorded and split in the part of the county now has given those two parcel numbers and now the zone change is back on the table. And if that started before planning board even considered a draft of it was on an agenda, then, they're grandfathered in under, they don't have to comply with the 400 foot depth.
so we have to go back and find, when did they actually start? I do not know.
Let me see if I got, let's see if I got.
Emails from Jared Banks.
Yeah, let me see what I've got here.
No, you should, no, that version. It's all over the place, that's for sure.
Well, I certainly have, I have a map from Jared. The map where they were starting the, partition, the division, separating it out. I have a map from July 3rd, 2024. Of when they had already.
It doesn't matter, it's when you learn this.
For 6 months. 6 months, yeah. Did we pass it in 6 month time period from when we started?
I don't know when it started. February, but this map from him was July, a year ago,
So the land partition
over a year
would have
ago.
been subsequent to their initial zone change application. So I think we're, my advice to you is I don't think that the council is bound by or should apply the 400 foot.
So should we make that decision tonight, or should we go back and continue this to next
Well,
month
yeah,
while we
if you
look
want-
up the
If you want to
details?
research the exact dates,
I would-
please.
I would prefer.
Don't trust my.
If we're gonna bring it back, I'd like to have, like, we had, when we did a couple of other development agreements, we've had communication with a representative.
Yes, but what we're saying here is that it's possible
Yeah.
that they are grandfathered in,
Right.
that they don't even, they were not limited to the 400. We have to go back and find out.
Totally understand that
the
conversation.
details.
However, if they will, we don't have to say we're not gonna pass it if you don't do it. Which you need to do. Or is the question.
Do we have any indication of why they petitioned?
I have no idea, because here's the map from July, it told us that, you see it.
It is, and then, and who owns?
I think that partially because of topography.
Even the second,
Is it?
Yeah, they have the whole thing, they partition off this,
so
so they want to zone.
my question though being, what would it hurt? Not to say to them, this is contingent. We're wondering maybe if you would go ahead and put that back into here, and
Yeah, I don't know why
there's some negotiation there of making that go as a compromise, why
It
do
was
this
on
happen?
July 3rd.
So I would like for them to.
This was.
And so they're a road, yeah, so you're right.
It is, and so to me, why did it be as? As a.
There's something.
No,
They have plans.
right, and let's let them tell us, no, but that way, before we do all the research, why not? While we're researching. Because if they don't.
Okay, got it, got it.
Maybe they'll be out about it.
Yeah.
I don't think, trying to get a compromise.
So. My preference.
The only way you, if you, for some reason, could find that the 400-foot requirement is in play,
The what?
the 400-foot.
Is in play,
Is in
huh?
play. The only other way you could deal with this, address it, is a rezone through a development area. And that's what's gonna blow your mind, Paul, because now, under our code, you have zoning districts, and zoning maps, but you can actually make hybrid zones through a development agreement. And as long as the development agreement is approved after a public hearing and recommendation from the planning commission, and then it comes to council. So if it's approved the same way as zone change is approved, it can be its own kind of hybrid.
I forgot that was kind of a new change, wasn't it?
It is.
That just came out.
About.
So that's the way I say, look, hey, if they've already partitioned and split this, and my recollection is,
We don't have to.
because Jared sent over a map
That's full.
showing where the two parcels would be both partitioned. It had the topography lines on it, and I think that they split it based off of topography. I think there's, I don't know why they have it going down. There was.
I don't either, and, the very first time Jared came and talked to me about this property was probably 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago was the first time Jared came and talked to me, and he had this laid out this way. But that was just coming and saying, hey, what do you think?
Yeah.
And that was before even starting any filing, any paperwork, just coming and talking to me and saying, here's what we're thinking.
Do you have
And
any idea what their plan is for that property?
I just know they were talking about a grocery store, a coffee shop, a bike shop, but I don't, the stuff that's going further down. I think they want
So
to.
that- The language pertaining to the 400 feet, okay, 400 feet from what? The highway.
From the highway,
It's a
from
specific,
you got, right,
not a property line or, no.
The way, most of our states come in highway.
But it really is a highway.
Right, but I'm just thinking if they're considering this being 400 feet from a property.
When you measured it, did you measure, you left the easement for the state road?
No, it's not, it was an estimate, I mean,
Was a guess?
yeah. You have the map tool on the GIS map.
Yeah.
You can measure the length, but it's not completely 100% accurate.
Okay, so my preference with this. By the way, I'll go back and ask Darlene, the 2-to-1 vote, was that denial or approval?
Our votes are always for approval.
Okay. Oh,
There's.
why do you guys never vote for a denial?
But the recommendation.
I mean, a recommendation to deny,
But I mean, some of us do.
okay.
There were 3 people.
There were only 3. Yeah, I understand that, but still, I just didn't know if it was 2-to-1 to deny or 2-to-1 to approve.
So if we're not having a problem with that little thing, it sounds like we're not, because we think it's already grandfathered.
Well, we want
That's
to
what we're
verify
finding
that.
out, that it's.
That's what we're
find out.
So my preference is to put this off while we verify.
Can we put a date on the put off?
I mean, we'll come back till next month. We'll come back on next month's agenda, but I want to verify when did they first apply for the zone change and what exactly was the timeline? Right. Do you guys have any objection to that? Okay.
There's an email right here from Jared Bates entitled Zone Change Map.
What date?
And their application.
And application. And some map.
He put on glasses. It was what she-
Dated July 3rd, 2024.
That's the same date as this, right? Yeah. Okay.
So
What was there?
So the application for the,
land
The
petition.
partition was 9/25/2024.
And then we don't care about the partition, it was when.
I remember having Jared having the real estate agent, and there might have been Palmer on the phone, and not having a conversation, to explain to him, sorry, but we don't split into one parcels, either need to partition the parcel.
Right, I remember all that.
And they sent this all over with Keith on December 3rd of 2024. So.
Following up with me on whether or not I had approved the land purchase.
What'd you say?
This was after they came back over for the zone change application.
This was the revised zone change application.
And what date is this revised?
Well, the revised one was received in this, June 12th, 25. That was,
We haven't had, 25. Yes, that.
but what they did is they changed the mapping, showing it just the newly partitioned parcel. Whether it's an issue of, is
Okay,
it,
so I
is
have,
it a active zone change application or an amended zone change or zone change application lapse? Now, we have an ordinance, anything that says how long an application can be active for. And it's just not trying to be anything other than help the town look at the best position if ever sued. And I think if we were to treat it more as being an amendment to the July 3rd, 2024 zone change application, which I put the brakes on and told them to do this first, then we'll come back and do that, then I think that's probably the safe thing, because they're gonna argue that to a judge, he's gonna always err on the sound of private property rights and the right to develop, and we're gonna lose and pay their attorneys.
okay, so I have, yes,
I have just a point of clarification. So the public hearing was, the understanding of the public of that public hearing was a 400-foot setback. Was with this, and now you're talking about it, it's all gonna be commercial, it could all be commercial, would that trigger that substantial change?
No.
To what the public, when they went to the public hearing, they understood our new law. That it was 400 feet back, and they were told it would only go 400 feet back. Because no one informed planning commission that there was a previous,
So are they gonna allow us to record a deed restriction against the back half?
well,
Or anything
well-
further than 400 feet, so it's saying that they acknowledge and agree and covenant and make a covenant that runs with the land.
so that's not my
At the same
question.
time.
I think her question is
Would it trigger another public hearing?
is their recommendation would be different to us now knowing that that 400 limitation is not there. And the fact that the planning commission and the public's view was that it was gonna be 400 feet, now that it isn't, would the public testimony be different? And would their recommendation to us be different?
So,
okay,
That's what I heard, that's what you said, right? That's your.
Yes.
okay, so I do
So,
have,
I like what they're gonna do. Yeah.
I know.
I think we need to refer back to planning board.
well, we gotta go talk to them first, make sure as much as they understand, right? We need to talk to them first, make sure what did they understand.
I agree with Keith's advice on that because there's nothing that says there's a limitation on when these allowed.
When application.
And he submitted the application and he just amended the application. The amendment was based on our advice to go get that. I don't think we can enforce that 400 feet. So the question now to me is, what does the public's comment be and would the recommendation be different on that zone without the 400 feet. And I would, depending on how that comes in, then we make our decision. So I agree with,
Dealing with land use.
it's legislative, but it's,
Yeah, you're acting legislatively because it's zone change, but
Yeah, I have here an email that was addressed to me from Jared July fifth, saying, we are ready to move forward with the zone change. And it's like, we're ready.
that's when we pump brakes.
Yeah, and that's when we said, wait a minute, you've gotta do this partition. And, so,
I'm ready to make the motion
okay,
that,
go for it.
that I make a motion that we refer this back to the planning commission for another public hearing concerning this application without the application of the new ordinance that limits commercial apartment.
I think in the opening of the public hearing, there should be an explanation to the public that's back before you, because there's been a substantial change in that it has been determined by town staff and town attorney that there was a zone change application pending before the 400-foot depth limitation was passed, and so that they don't have to comply with that. Recognizing that, is there any new public comment that would like to be made? And you guys can revise, because we're tabling it and sending it back to you. You guys can revise your recommendation. It could be a recommendation to deny if you wanted to. You could have different planning commissioners present and
And
then
we'll-
bigger vote.
And we'll clarify that timeline.
And for the developer, I think the response is, it also protects him because the citizens, if there's any opposition, could sue based on that fact. So let's clear up the record and make a decision solely on what we think is best for the town.
I know it's not gonna take a long time, because
I'd like to see-
I'm embarrassed at how long this thing is.
I was just thinking the same thing. I'm embarrassed to have to go back to
Oh,
Jared to tell
Yeah,
him
go back
this.
to Jared and say,
I would like to see some communication with Jared, so he's willing to do it without causing such a.
You need to do a development. agreement.
I mean, we may not even have to have a public hearing, if he says he'll.
a development agreement is still gonna require to go back to the plan.
Yeah, development.
But we
So
can
it's gonna be
start that motion, and it would not delay him any longer if we have communication.
Okay,
That's the,
I
I would like to
understand
see
where
that,
you're
it's just putting him off another year.
So did we get a second?
No, I'll make a second.
Yeah. The delay should only be a month.
right. All in favor? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, now we are going to go to a closed meeting, and I am looking for the code section.
524205D.
I'm sorry, what?
524205D.
Okay, I'm at 54, okay, 205. Yes, okay, that's the one, that's the section I was thinking of.
If you want to just read that, so we've got it.
Yes, I'm looking.
Or, yeah.
Okay, so I make a motion that we, close the public meeting and we go to a closed meeting pursuant to, Utah State Code 52-4-205, subsection 1, subsection D, which is strategy sessions to discuss the purchase, exchange, or lease of real property. Okay, the meeting will take place, right here in this building where we are sitting right now in the old church at 114 South Mill Street in Virgin, Utah. Anything else I have to say in that regard? Okay, so I will do a roll call vote. I'm gonna start with Valerie.
Yeah, yes.
This,
Yeah.
Jean, yes, Paul,
Aye.
and April, aye, okay?
That's really.
Yes.
There,